At 12, my parents framed me for my sister's robbery and dumped me at a farm with a trash bag, saying, "We're not ruining her life to save yours." 15 years later, they walked into my law office begging me to keep her out of prison. The trash bag was green. That's what I remember most from that night. Not my mother's face when she told me to pack. Not my father loading me into the car like cargo. Not my sister watching from her bedroom window, backlit and silent. The trash bag. Kitchen-sized. The kind you use for garbage. That's what they gave me to pack my life into. I was 12. My name is Jade. I'm 27 now. I run a criminal defense firm in Portland. 3 partners, 6 associates, a caseload that would make most lawyers weep. We take the cases nobody else wants, the messy ones, the ugly ones, the ones where the defendant did something stupid but doesn't deserve to have their entire future destroyed over it. I know what that feels like. When I was 12, my sister Natalie was 15. She was beautiful in that specific way that makes adults stupid: big eyes, sweet smile, the kind of girl teachers fawned over and boys stumbled around. She was also a pathological liar and a thief. She stole from stores. Small stuff at first: lip gloss, candy, magazines. Then bigger things. Clothes. Electronics. She had a system: wear baggy jackets, bring her own shopping bags, walk out like she owned the place. She got caught twice. Both times, my parents paid the stores to drop charges. Both times, they told Natalie she was going through a phase and needed to make better choices. The third time, she robbed a jewelry store. Not shoplifting. Actual robbery. She and 2 older kids, 17, 18, broke a display case and grabbed watches. Expensive ones. The kind with serial numbers and insurance documentation. They triggered the alarm. Got caught on camera. One of the boys dropped his phone running out. Police showed up at our house that same night. Natalie cried. Begged. Swore she didn't do it. The officers said they had video evidence. They had the other kids in custody. They had testimony. My parents asked them to wait in the living room. Pulled Natalie and me into the kitchen. Who did it? My father asked. Natalie kept crying. It wasn't me. I swear. The police have video. They're lying. They're confused. It wasn't me. My mother looked at me. Long and considering. I was 12. Chubby. Bad haircut. No friends. Wore the same 3 hoodies in rotation. The kid teachers forgot about. Jade, she said slowly. This is very serious. Natalie could go to juvenile detention. Her record would be ruined. College, scholarships, her entire future, gone. But she did it. Listen to me. My father's voice was steel. Natalie has a future. You are. You're going to be fine either way. You're resilient. Strong. You'll land on your feet. I didn't do anything. My mother's hand gripped my shoulder. We need you to help your sister. Take responsibility. You're younger, they'll go easier on you. I didn't do it. Keep your voice down. My father glanced toward the living room where the police waited. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to tell them you took the watches. That Natalie wasn't involved. You'll say you were with some older kids but you don't remember their names. Our lawyers will handle the rest. No. We're not giving you a choice. You can't make me lie. But they could. And they did. They gave me 10 minutes to decide. Locked me in the bathroom. I sat on the floor trying to figure out if this was real. When they let me out, my father handed me a script. Literally. Handwritten notes on legal paper. You tell them this. Word for word. I looked at Natalie. She'd stopped crying. Was watching me with something like curiosity. I didn't do it, I said one more time. We know, my mother said quietly. But you're going to say you did? I told the police what my parents wanted me to say. Their expensive lawyers got me a deal: juvenile probation, community service, counseling. No detention. The lawyers made sure of that. The night after my court hearing, my parents drove me to a farm 3 hours outside the city. Uncle Marcus's place, my father's brother. I'd met him twice. He was a dairy farmer. Lived alone. Didn't talk much. "You're staying here," my father said. We pulled up to a farmhouse. Small. Dark. Middle of nowhere. My mother handed me the trash bag. We packed some clothes. Essentials. "When can I come home?" Silence. "Mom?" Jade. Her voice was careful. Scripted. "We've decided it's best if you stay here. Permanently." The world tilted. What? Natalie needs stability. A normal home life. Having you there would be complicated. "You're abandoning me?" My father finally looked at me. "We're giving you a fresh start. Marcus will take care of you. You'll go to school here. Work the farm. Build character. I didn't do anything wrong. We're not ruining her life to save yours." His voice was final. Absolute. "Get out." I got out. Stood there holding a trash bag full of clothes while my parents drove away. Taillights disappearing into darkness. Uncle Marcus came out onto the porch. Looked me over. "You the kid?" "Yes, sir." "You steal those watches?" "No, sir." He nodded. Like he'd expected that answer. "Your daddy called. Said you confessed to protect your sister. Said they're sending you here because they don't want you around anymore." He paused. "That about right?" "Yes, sir." "Well, can't say I understand it. But you're here now. Got a room for you upstairs. We'll figure out the rest tomorrow." Update 1. I lived on that farm for 6 years. Uncle Marcus didn't talk much, but he was fair. Taught me how to work, real work, the kind that leaves you too tired to think. I milked cows. Mended fences. Learned to drive a tractor at 13. Went to the local high school. Completed my community service hours helping at the town library. Met with my probation officer every month. She'd drive out to the farm, ask how I was doing, sign off on my paperwork. My parents never visited. Never called. I tried calling them a few times in the first year. They never answered. Eventually I stopped trying. At 16, my probation ended. I asked Uncle Marcus about college. "You got the grades for it," he said. "Don't have the money." "You got savings. Been paying you for farm work since you got here. Accounts in your name." I didn't know that. Turned out he'd been setting aside money every month. Not much, but something. Enough to supplement scholarships and loans. "Why?" I asked. "Why what?" "Why help me? You barely know me." He was quiet for a long time. Then, "Your daddy called when he dropped you off. Told me what really happened. That your sister stole those watches. That they made you take the blame to protect her. Asked me to keep you here until you turned 18 so Natalie wouldn't be corrupted by having a criminal in the house." He paused. I said fine, I'd take you. But not because I agreed with him. Because I figured you needed somewhere safe to land. My chest went tight. "And you still took me?" "Figured you needed somewhere to go. Figured your daddy was an idiot for throwing away a perfectly good kid." He looked at me. Really looked at me. "You work hard. Don't complain. Don't make excuses. That's worth something." I cried. First time in years. At 18, I left the farm. Got a full ride to Portland State, grades, essay about overcoming adversity that made my academic advisor tear up, plus I used my farm savings for living expenses. Worked part-time anyway. Graduated with honors in 3 years. Got into Lewis and Clark Law School on scholarship. Graduated in the top 10%. Passed the bar on the first try. Worked at a public defender's office for 3 years, learned the ropes, built my reputation, won cases everyone said were unwinnable. Opened my own firm at 26 with a law school friend who believed in the same things I did. I didn't do any of it for revenge. I did it because Uncle Marcus taught me that work matters. That showing up matters. That the person you become is more important than the family you came from. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about my parents sometimes. About Natalie? About the trash bag and the lie and the taillights disappearing. I thought about them a lot. And then, 15 years after they dumped me at a farm, they walked into my office. Final update. It was a Wednesday. Late afternoon. My assistant buzzed me. "You have a walk-in?" Says it's urgent. A Mr. and Mrs. Morrison. Morrison. My last name. The one I kept out of spite and stubbornness. Send them in. The door opened. My father walked in first. Older. Gray hair. Expensive suit. Still that same confident stride. My mother followed. Still beautiful. Still carefully put together. Her eyes widened when she saw me. Jade? Mr. and Mrs. Morrison. Please, sit. They sat. Both staring at me like I was a ghost. You're a lawyer? My father sounded genuinely shocked. Criminal defense attorney. Managing partner of this firm. I assume you're not here for a reunion. My mother's hands twisted in her lap. We need help. Your sister, Natalie, she's in trouble. What kind of trouble? She's been charged with embezzlement. From her employer. They're saying she stole over $200,000. I leaned back in my chair. Did she? Of course not. My mother's voice rose. She's innocent. It's a misunderstanding. Did she steal the money? I asked again. Looking at my father this time. He hesitated. The evidence is complicated. That means yes. She made mistakes. She stole $200,000. She has a daughter. My mother was crying now. Real tears. Your niece. She's 7. If Natalie goes to prison, you want me to represent her? Please. My father leaned forward. Your family. You have to help her. I let that sit. Family. How did you find me? We've kept track of you. Over the years. From a distance. Yes. Never called. Never wrote. Never visited. My mother wiped her eyes. We thought it was better. Better for who? Silence. Let me make sure I understand, I said. Voice level. Professional. 15 years ago, Natalie robbed a jewelry store. You made me take the blame. Sent me to live on a farm. Abandoned me. Cut me off completely. And now she's stolen $200,000 and you want me to help her? You're the best criminal defense attorney in Portland. How would you know? You've never contacted me. My father's jaw tightened. We read about you. In the papers. You've won some big cases. I have. So you'll help her? I stood up. Walked to the window. Looked out at the city I'd built a life in. A real life. One I'd earned. No. What? My mother stood too. You have to. I don't have to do anything. She's your sister. She was my sister when I was 12 and you made me lie for her. She was my sister when you drove me to a farm and left me there. Where was family then? We did what we had to do. No. You chose Natalie over me. You chose her future over mine. You told me you weren't going to ruin her life to save mine. I turned to face them. So now I'm making the same choice. I'm not ruining my reputation to save hers. My father's face went red. You'd let your sister go to prison? She's a 30-year-old woman who embezzled $200,000. She's going to prison whether I help or not. The evidence is probably overwhelming. No lawyer is going to save her. But you're the best. I'm good because I'm selective. I take cases I can win. Cases where the defendant deserves a second chance. Natalie's had about 15 second chances. This is just the first time she couldn't make you clean it up for her. My mother grabbed my arm. Please. Think of her daughter. Your niece. I removed her hand. Gently. Firmly. Did you think of me when you handed me that trash bag? That was different. How? You were going to be fine. We knew you would. You were always so capable. So independent. I was 12. She had no answer for that. My father stood. We'll find another lawyer. Good luck. They walked to the door. My mother turned back. I hope you can live with yourself. Abandoning family when they need you. I've had 15 years of practice. They left. I sat back down at my desk. Stared at the case files. The diplomas on the wall. The photos of me and Uncle Marcus at my law school graduation. He'd driven 8 hours to be there. The life I'd built from nothing. My hands were shaking. Not from sadness. From adrenaline. From 15 years of imagining this moment and having it actually happen. My assistant buzzed. Everything okay? Fine. Hold my calls for 20 minutes. I pulled up Google. Typed in Natalie's name. She had a LinkedIn. Of course she did. Director of operations at some tech startup. Her photo showed her in business casual, smiling at the camera. Professional. Successful looking. The comments on her posts were full of people praising her work ethic and leadership. I clicked on her Facebook. Private, but I could see her profile picture. Her with a little girl, 7, they'd said. Blonde hair and pigtails. Both of them laughing at something off camera. I stared at that photo for a long time. That little girl was going to grow up without her mother for 8 years. Maybe more if Natalie didn't behave in prison. She'd be 15 when her mom got out. Almost the same age Natalie was when she robbed that jewelry store. I should have felt guilty. Shouldn't I? She was a kid. My niece. Innocent in all this. But I didn't feel guilty. I felt nothing. That little girl had parents, or at least, she had my parents. Her grandparents. They'd take care of her. Spoil her. Make sure she had everything she needed. Just like they'd done for Natalie. Nobody took care of me when I was 7. When I was 12. When I was 16 and working on a farm because I had nowhere else to go. I closed the browser. Opened my case files. Got back to work. But I couldn't focus. My mind kept circling back to my mother's face when she'd grabbed my arm. The desperation in it. The way she'd said think of her daughter like that was supposed to break me. Around 5 p.m., my partner Angela knocked on my door. Hey. You good? You've been quiet since that walk-in earlier. Angela knew my story. Most of it. She'd ask once why I never talked about my family, and I told her the abbreviated version. She'd said, Jesus Christ, and bought me a drink, and we never discussed it again. That was them, I said. My parents. She closed the door. Sat down. Seriously? Yep. Showed up asking me to represent Natalie. She embezzled $200,000, and you said? No. Angela nodded slowly. How do you feel? I don't know yet. That's fair. She paused. For what it's worth, you made the right call. Taking that case would have been a nightmare. Conflict of interest. Emotional minefield. Professional suicide. I know. Plus, she's guilty as hell, right? Sounds like it. Then there's nothing you could have done anyway. You're good, Jade, but you're not a magician. I managed to smile. Thanks. You want to get a drink? Process this with someone who isn't going to judge you? Rain check? I think I need to drive for a while. Sure thing. I left the office. Got in my car. Started driving with no destination in mind. I ended up at a park near Portland State. The campus where I'd spent 4 years earning my undergrad degree while working 20 hours a week at a coffee shop. I'd studied on these benches. Pulled all-nighters in that library. Stressed about exams and papers and whether I'd get into law school. I'd been alone then. No family at graduation. No parents sending care packages. Just me and Uncle Marcus's occasional phone calls, brief, awkward, but consistent. How's school? Good. Busy. You eating enough? Yes, sir. All right then. You need anything, you call. I never called. Never asked for anything. Didn't want to be a burden. But he showed up anyway. Drove 8 hours for my undergrad graduation. Sat in the audience in his Sunday clothes, the only suit he owned, probably. Clapped when they called my name. Took me to dinner at a chain restaurant and told me he was proud. You did good, kid. Thanks to you. Nah. This was all you. I just gave you a place to land. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hello? Jade? It's Natalie. I sat very still. How did you get this number? Mom gave it to me. Look, I know you probably don't want to talk to me. Then why are you calling? Because I need to explain. About what happened. When we were kids. I know what happened. No, you don't. You don't know what it was like for me. What it was like for you. You robbed a store. I took the blame. I got sent away. You got to stay home. I didn't ask them to do that. Did you tell them not to? Silence. Natalie, I don't care about your explanation. It's 15 years too late. I was a kid. I was scared. I made mistakes, and I paid for them. I know. And I'm sorry. I've been sorry for years. Have you? My voice was flat. Cold. Because according to LinkedIn, you've been pretty successful. Director of Operations. That's impressive. Must have been hard to build that career while carrying all that guilt. That's not fair. You want to talk about fair? Let's talk about fair. I spent 6 years on a farm because of you. Worked every day. Missed out on a normal childhood. Went to college alone. Built a career from nothing. And now you're calling me because you need something. Not to apologize. Not to make amends. Because you need me to save you again. I have a daughter, I know. Mom mentioned her. Used her, actually. Tried to guilt me into helping you by talking about your daughter growing up without a mother. She's 7 years old, Jade. She doesn't deserve this. I was 12. The words hung there. I was 12 years old, I said again. Younger than your daughter is now. And our parents framed me for your crime and abandoned me at a farm. Did I deserve that? No. But I survived. Grew up. Made something of myself. Your daughter will too. So you're really not going to help me? No. Even though you could. Even though you're good enough to maybe get me a reduced sentence or probation or, Natalie, the evidence against you is overwhelming. No lawyer is going to fix this. You embezzled money for years. There's a paper trail. Digital records. You're going to prison. The only question is for how long. But you could try. I could. But I won't. Because you don't deserve my help. You didn't deserve it 15 years ago when Mom and Dad chose you over me. And you don't deserve it now. She was crying. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sure you are. Now. I hung up. My assistant buzzed. Everything okay? Fine. Cancel my afternoon appointments. I left the office. Drove 3 hours to the farm. Found Uncle Marcus in the barn, same as always, fixing a piece of equipment. Jade. He looked surprised. Everything all right? My parents showed up today. At my office. He set down his wrench. That so? Natalie's in trouble. They want me to help her. You gonna do it? No. He nodded slowly. Good. Good? You don't owe them anything. Not her. Not them. He looked at me straight on. You know what you are? What? Free. They gave up their claim to you 15 years ago. Don't let them take that away now. I hugged him. This man who'd taken in a 12-year-old with a trash bag and taught her that family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up. Uncle Marcus showed up. My parents didn't. And now, 15 years later, they wanted me to save the daughter they'd chosen over me. But I'd already been saved. By a dairy farmer who barely talked and paid me for chores and made sure I went to college. By professors who believed in me when I told them where I came from. By clients who trusted me with their lives and their futures. I didn't need my parents' approval anymore. And Natalie didn't need my help. She needed to face the consequences of her choices. The same consequences I'd faced when I was 12 and they'd made me lie. Except I hadn't done anything wrong. And she had. I stayed at the farm that night. Uncle Marcus made dinner, nothing fancy, just steak and potatoes. We ate in comfortable silence. After, we sat on the porch watching the sun set over the fields. You ever regret it? I asked. Taking me in? Regret keeping the best farmhand I ever had? Hell no. I smiled. I was terrible at farming. You were 12 and city soft. But you learned. That's what mattered. Did my dad ever call? After he dropped me off? Once. About 6 months in. Asked how you were doing. I told him you were fine. Working hard. He said good and hung up. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Never called again. Did he ask to talk to me? Nope. I nodded. Not surprised. Just confirmed. You know what I never understood? Marcus said. Your daddy had 2 daughters. One who worked hard and kept her head down. One who kept getting into trouble. And he threw away the good one. Natalie was easier to love. More charming. Charm's cheap. Character costs. He looked at me. You got character. That's rare. We sat there until the stars came out. Then I drove back to Portland, feeling lighter than I had in years. 3 months later, Natalie was sentenced to 8 years in federal prison. My parents hired an expensive lawyer who did his best, but the evidence was overwhelming. She'd been embezzling for years. Had a whole second life funded by stolen money. I read about it in the paper. There was a photo of her being led into the courthouse. She looked small. Afraid. Nothing like the confident girl who'd watched from her bedroom window while I was driven away. My mother was quoted, "This is a travesty. My daughter is innocent. The system has failed her." I wondered if she saw the irony. Probably not. They sent me an email. Subject line, "How could you?" I deleted it without reading. A week later, another email. Subject line, "She's your sister." Deleted. Then, "You'll regret this." Deleted. After that, they stopped trying. I'm 27 now. My firm is thriving. We just took on another associate. I'm handling some of the biggest criminal defense cases in the state. Last month, I won an appeal for a client who'd been wrongfully convicted. 8 years he'd spent in prison for something he didn't do. When the judge vacated the sentence, my client turned to me and said, "You gave me my life back." I thought about being 12. About the trash bag. About 6 years on a farm learning that the life you're given isn't the only life you can have. You did that yourself, I told him. By not giving up. Uncle Marcus came to Portland 2 months ago, first time he'd left the farm in a decade. I took him to dinner at a nice restaurant. He was uncomfortable in the fancy setting, kept checking the menu prices. "My treat," I said. "Order whatever you want." "This place is too expensive, Marcus. I can afford it." He smiled. "I know you can. I'm proud of you, kid. I couldn't have done it without you." "Sure you could have. You just would have had a harder road." "Maybe. But I'm glad I had you." After dinner, I showed him my office. He met my partners. Saw the conference rooms, the law library, the staff break room. Stood in my personal office looking at the diplomas on the wall. Lewis and Clark Law School, he read. "That's a good school. Got a scholarship. Use the farm money for rent and food." He nodded. Money well spent. He looked at the photo on my desk, me and him at my law school graduation. "You kept this?" "Of course. You're the only family I've got." His eyes got a little watery. He cleared his throat. "Well, I'm glad I could be there." "Me too." Before he left town, he handed me an envelope. "Don't open it till I'm back home." Inside was a deed. The farm. He put it in my name. I called him immediately. "Marcus, I can't accept this. It's done. Lawyers already filed the paperwork. It's yours. But the farm is your life. And when I'm gone, it'll be yours. Do whatever you want with it. Keep it. Sell it. Turn it into a commune. I don't care. I just want you to have something that's yours. Really yours. That nobody can take away." I cried then. Big, ugly sobs. For the 12-year-old girl with a trash bag. For the teenager who learned to milk cows and mend fences. For the woman I'd become despite everything. "Thank you," I managed. "You earned it, kid. Every acre." That was 2 months ago. Marcus is still on the farm, still working, still calling me every Sunday to check in. The conversations are still brief. Still awkward. Still exactly what I need. My parents never reached out again. I don't know if they blame me for Natalie's sentence. Don't care, honestly. Last week, I got a letter. Prison envelope. From Natalie. I almost threw it away. But curiosity got the better of me. "Dear Jade," it read. I'm not writing to ask for anything. I know I don't deserve your help or your forgiveness. I'm writing because my therapist here says I need to take accountability. So here it is. I'm sorry. For everything. For stealing those watches. For letting you take the blame. For watching you get driven away and not saying anything. For living my life like you never existed. I was selfish and cowardly and I destroyed your childhood. You deserved better. I just wanted you to know that I know that now. I hope you're happy. I hope you have a good life. That's all. N. I read it twice. Then I filed it away. Not in the trash. In a folder in my desk. Because maybe someday I'd want to remember that she'd said it. That she'd finally understood. But today wasn't that day. Today I had clients to defend. Cases to win. A life to live. A life I'd built myself. With character, not charm. And they can't have it back.